on camera, and I'm going across everyone on the other.
Gurinder Chadha is the hugely successful director of Bend It Like Beckham.
So you need to be wider there, Pete.
The daughter of a postman and a shopkeeper, she's risen to become one of the most sought-after British film directors in Hollywood. The film which made her name is rooted in the world of Asian immigrants in Southall, West London, her childhood home.
When I was growing up in England, all the teachers at school used to say, oh, poor things, these Indian kids, they don't know if they're Indian or they're English, and they're all suffering from identity crises. And I never understood what that actually meant, because as far as I was concerned, I always knew when to be Indian, you know, at home and with relatives, and when to be English with all my friends at school or down the street. When people migrate, you know, when your fathers and mothers are immigrants, they always go on about the home country, you know, and you spend a lot of your time sort of running away from that. I think now, as I get older, I'm kind of interested in fitting together the stories of my family's past. And because my father died, you know, relatively recently, that really affected me quite a lot. You know, that generation's all sort of dying, and I don't really know as much as I should know, I feel.
Gurinder was born in Kenya, but moved with her family to West London, where her mother still lives.
Did you make the pakora?
Huh? I made pakora.
Yesterday?
Yesterday I made pakora.
Gurinder's father, Bajan Singh, left his young family in Kenya and came to England in 1961. A year later, his wife and 2 daughters followed. When Gurinder arrived, she didn't recognize him.
When I was born, Dad was a Sikh, and he had a turban and a beard.
Yeah.
And when we then joined him in England in the early 60s, he didn't have a turban and a beard anymore.
Later on.
Why was that?
Because he couldn't get any job
So
with a turban.
Oh.
So then he just stood near Guru Nanak's photo that your Sikh is in my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Not my head.
When Gurinder's father arrived in England, he faced hostility and racism. Bajan had worked in a bank in Kenya, but in London he found it impossible to get a job. Then a friend suggested he try Southall, where there was a growing Indian community. But most Sikhs, however well educated, could only get menial work. Eventually, Bajan got a job as a postman, but even to deliver letters, he had to compromise his religious beliefs by removing his turban and beard.
I always felt that my dad had a very tough life, and I feel that he was never able to fulfill the potential that he had. You know, he had a great conceptual mind as far as I was concerned, and a fantastic sense of humour. And when he retired, I said to him, look, Dad, why don't you sit down and write down some of your earliest memories of Kenya? And he sat down at the table here, he sat down and he wrote all these pages. But when he wrote this, I had got quite busy, and so I never got round to reading it at the time, and then I put it away. And then when he died in 1999, I couldn't bear pulling it out and reading it again because it was just too painful. So I think for me, part of this journey now is being able to go back and read about, you know, his memoirs, and although I could never go back to Kenya with him, you know, in some ways I think I can with his words.
Gurinder's been back to Kenya a few times for family occasions, but she's never had the opportunity to find out about her family history there.
What I'm really interested in is finding out something about my father's childhood in Kenya. I want to also know a bit about my grandfather's life and why he came to Kenya and what he did there.
At the same time, Gurinder wants to investigate an old family rumour.
My understanding is that my grandfather's elder brother, because there weren't a lot of Indian women around at that time, he ended up marrying or living with a local African woman. But that's kind of hushed away. But I do believe that in that union they had a child. So I'd be really interested to find out whether that child had further children and whether somewhere, in Kenya I have an African side. I think that would be really cool.
This is Nairobi, and this is where I was born, actually, but I don't really have any connection to it, probably because I was a very small baby when my parents left. And right now I'm going to visit one of my dad's youngest brothers, and he's done quite a lot of research into our early family history here in Kenya.
Gurinder believes that her grandfather and his brother were both police officers who came to Kenya from India in 1907.
Nice to see you. My uncle's getting quite old now and recently had an operation which affected his vocal cords, so we can barely hear him these days, but I think he's got a lot of information that I really want to find out about.
First came my uncle called Sardar Lata Singh.
Lata Singh.
Lata.
Singh, okay.
He was in Punjab police.
Right.
So in 1886, he was seconded and sent to Kenya.
In 1886? Oh, okay, I didn't know that, okay.
Towards the end of the 19th century, the British were expanding their empire into Africa. They needed workers who were used to the harsh tropical conditions to build railways and provide security for their newest colony. In their trained Indian workforce, they found ideal candidates. Thousands of Indian workers made the arduous 3-month journey to East Africa. Men like Gurinder's great-uncle, Lata Singh, were offered financial incentives to join the new police force in Nairobi. Lata was eventually followed by his younger brother, Bishan Singh, Gurinder's grandfather, who took a job as an office clerk.
He came in 1907.
And did his brother Lata Singh tell him to come, or did he come on his own?
Lata Singh sponsored his education.
Oh, okay.
Paid for his expenses and brought him in Africa.
Okay. Now, I don't know much about this. I've only heard little things. That my grandfather's brother, this is the police officer, he didn't, because there were very few women, Indian women around at that time, a lot of men who came very early on actually settled with African women and were married to African women.
No, you're coming to a different brother.
There was a third brother?
Yes.
See, I didn't know there was a third brother. I always thought there were two brothers. So there was a third, so you had a third uncle here?
Lata Singh.
The middle brother, Lata Singh, had come out to Kenya to serve in the British Army. His regiment was deployed in crushing a tribal rebellion against the British expansion into Africa.
And then what about marriage?
He didn't marry, but had an African woman.
Right, who he used to live with. And did they have children?
I met one of his offspring.
Right. Your cousin?
My cousin. in 1951.
In 1951?
My father introduced me,
Yeah.
but didn't give me any history.
Well, I'm really surprised that I was so ignorant, to be honest with you. I thought I had done a good job of finding out my history, the very basic stuff, but I have got everything wrong, dates wrong, and I've got brothers muddled up, and stories that I thought belonged to one brother were actually an amalgam of all three brothers. So what's been great is just clarification.
In 1917, Gurinder's great-uncle, Lada Singh, retired from the police force. He invited his brothers to join him in setting up a family business in Kericho, in the tea-growing area of northwest Kenya.
It's 6 in the morning, so I'm afraid I'm not going to be very articulate at this early hour. But what I'm excited about in seeing in Kericho is just learning more about my father's youth and his father's youth and what their sort of day-to-day life was like, you know, because it was a brave new world, you know, for them coming from India. And there wasn't an awful lot of intermingling at that time. So I think it's even more radical that one of my great uncles, you know, lived with an African woman. And although no one really wants to talk about it in any great detail, I'm quite interested to just find out about that, just for personal reasons, but also just in terms of socially, what was acceptable and not acceptable.
Gurinder's going to meet another of her father's brothers, Charan Singh, who still runs the family business. She hopes he might be willing to tell her more about her great-uncle's life with the African woman.
Hello, G.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Looking fine?
Very good. You're looking old.
I'm not old, I'm still young.
You're still young? I didn't recognize
The Chadha building was built on the site of a tin house where the family lived when they first arrived here in 1917.
Your brother and I was born here.
So my dad was born here.
Yeah.
So what used to be here?
We had 6 rooms
Yeah.
with the guest room and kitchen, store and bathroom.
And now, Bishan Singh was the youngest. So he settled here,
Yeah.
built his house here, had his children here, including my father. Then his brother eldest to him was Lakha Singh.
Elder to him was a cousin.
Now, Lakha Singh got married, right?
No, he didn't marry.
He didn't get married. But he used to have a wife, didn't he?
No,
Because Kalman Chacha told
he
me
knows better than me.
he had a wife and
No, he was never married.
he was never married, but he had a...
What only, yeah.
On that...
But
right. But did they have children,
No.
in your opinion? I heard that maybe they had one child.
No.
That
not at
Kalman
all.
Chacha met.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. I'm sure about 100%.
So it's interesting that my uncle in Kericho has denied all knowledge of his uncle having a child with his liaison with the African lady, whereas my other uncle in Nairobi confirmed actually that not only did they have a child, they had a son, and that he actually met him. So I've found out where this mill is, where Lakha Singh used to hang out, and I'm on my way there to see if I can find out anything more about my great aunt, the African aunt.
Lakha Singh showed little interest in the family business. He bought a watermill in an isolated spot called Lumba, about 10 miles from Kericho. He learnt the local Kipsigis language and decided to settle here for good.
This is Lumba, huh?
Yeah, this used to be called Lumba, but now it's Kipkelion.
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 I've seen it in papers of my grandfather that says Lumba. This is the river, right? This
No,
must be
that's-
the river for the mill.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
It's
true.
not too big. You think this is it? I don't see anything. There's no houses or anything.
Well, I think this was the place, but I'm not very sure. Let me just go out, find out if I can find somebody who can confirm to us if this was the right place.
Okay.
Milton, Gurinder's driver, has found a local farmer whose father worked as Laka Singh's night watchman.
Jambo.
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 Nzuri sana.
Familiar. Yeah. This is an old guy who says maybe he knows a story about the Chadha who used to live here.
Okay.
Najua yeye. I know.
You know?
I know Chadha.
Did he have an African wife?
Anasema akikuuliza pengine unaweza kufahamu. Alikuwa na bibi Mwafrika.
Alikuwa na ile wanafichana.
He says yes, he had a black girlfriend or wife, but he was kind of hiding it.
Oh, he was hiding it. And what was her name? Does he know?
Alikuwa anaitwa nani?
Oh, Tablele.
Her name was Taplele.
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 Oh, that's good. And this is where they lived here?
Na hapa ndio alikuwa anaishi.
Alikuwa ameishi mara ya kwanza hapa. Hapa.
This is the house?
This is where they used to live.
And what did the Paleles people think of her with an Indian?
Hapo sasa siwezi kujua walienda wakasema nini. Hawakuona mzuri kwa maana huyu Chadha si alikuwa amesaa kuibana mpaka dakika ya mwisho hiyo kijana akapatikana.
He's saying it was not an open affair, really open affair, but they did it, and at the end of the day, they came out with a kid.
Oh, so they did have a child.
So, I mean, after hiding it for quite a long time...
Yeah. She came out with a belly.
She came out with a belly. And they had a kid, and he's calling him Shelly Shelly.
Shelly Shelly?
Yeah.
And what does Shelly Shelly mean? Is it Kipsigis or...?
Shelly Shelly kwa rangi ingine.
He's saying Shelly Shelly means like a different color.
Oh.
Kipsigis, it's a different color. So that's why the Shelly Shelly means.
You mean so it's a little, not quite so dark, a little light brown.
Kwa hivyo sio rangi nyeusi na sio rangi nyeupe. Yeah, it's different color. It's not white and it's not black. So it's
Shelly Shelly.
Yeah, Shelly Shelly.
The last time anyone heard of Shelly Shelly, he was living in Kapsoi, a small town close to Kericho. According to the locals, there is a mixed-race man living in Kapsoi. They call him Shelly Shelly, and he originally came from Lumba.
There's someone there. Are we sure this is him? Milton? I'm a bit nervous. I'm a bit nervous. Hello. Hello. My name's Gurinder.
Nice to meet you.
Chadha. Milton.
Nice to meet you.
We're looking for somebody called, the only name we have is Shelly Shelly. And we've been asking a lot of people for directions to which have led us to you.
I see.
May I ask what your name is?
My name is Jimmy Joshi.
Jimmy Joshi.
Yes.
Okay.
Because we were told.
So then, well, very pleased to meet you.
Pleased to meet you.
You're not my uncle. I was searching for my for my father's cousin.
Okay. I don't know any person called Shelly Shelly, but Shelly Shelly could be a term that they use when a colored chap, when they don't know exactly what tribe he is. You see, we are coloreds. We are coloreds. We originate from white
settlers.
White settlers.
Okay.
Yes.
So your father was from England?
Oh, my father's from England.
Okay.
Yes.
And
I mean, some people look at my appearance and say, term here Shelley, but I'm not really Shelley.
Ah, so Shelley was just a name that people gave.
People create.
Right,
Yes.
right. Oh, how interesting. Okay. So how was it growing up in Kericho?
Those days there was a lot of Calabar and all those kind of things, but later on things became better.
But did you see yourself as English or African?
When you're young, you don't think about these things.
Yes.
You just run around and play and
Yes.
forget about everything.
Okay, well, very
Okay, thank you
nice
very
to
much.
meet
That was
you.
nice of you to come.
Real pleasure. And
Nice talking to you.
we'll see how about continuing our search. But
Okay.
all the best.
I wish you all the best.
Thank you. Bye.
The taboo surrounding interracial relationships and mixed-race children isn't surprising given the racial segregation in Kenya at the time. The so-called colour bar created a virtual system of apartheid, with whites at the top, black Africans at the bottom, and Asians somewhere in the middle.
It's a shame that I can't find Laka Singh's son. I'm a little sad about that because I would have liked to have found that route. And one of the reasons I can't really find it is because no one really wants to talk about it, and therefore no one really kept in touch with him, with my family. I have to just be satisfied with the fact that knowing that he had a good life, my uncle, and that somewhere out here is his son and maybe his son's children.
Although her uncle Charan doesn't want to talk about Shelley, he is happy to tell her more about her grandfather Bishen and the family business.
How did the family establish itself in Kericho in 1917? What happened?
They bought a shack here for 1,800 rupees.
Here?
Here.
And why did they choose this spot?
Hey, it was main road, you see. It is the main road going to Uganda.
And what was the business?
Everything, grocery, journal, kerosene, petrol, transport business, bus,
Transport business, bus business, mill, petrol.
So it was just a kind of a general business.
Although the youngest of the three brothers, it was Gurinder's grandfather, Bishen Singh, who proved to be the driving force behind the family's success. Kericho was in the middle of the so-called White Highlands, Kenya's most fertile farmland, which proved particularly good for growing tea. After the First World War, white settlers arrived in Kenya in droves to take up the British government's offer of large parcels of land at knockdown prices. Asians weren't entitled to apply for the discounted land, so many of them became shopkeepers. Gurinder's grandfather saw an opportunity to service not only the needs of Kericho's white tea barons, but also their African workers. Before long, Bishen had opened 2 new businesses on Kericho's main street.
I want to know which was the business here. Which one? This one? These two?
So, and we had a petrol.
Petrol pump here. It looks like it hasn't changed. Is it the same?
By now, Gurinder's grandfather was doing so well that he became the first man in Kericho to own a motor car. And in the late 1930s, he built the Chadha building, a parade of shops with several family apartments. With a thriving business to oversee, Bishen remained in Kenya, but sent his wife, Takadevi, back to India in the hope of finding suitable husbands for his daughters. Gurinder's father, who was 14, was sent to boarding school in Nairobi with his brother, Charan.
What was he like when he was growing up with you?
Very naughty fellow.
He was naughty?
Yeah.
Why did you say...
He used to skip all the school time in Nairobi.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But I know that he was quite spoilt by his father, wasn't he?
Spoiled by all of us.
Okay, so he would just take off and do what he wanted. And I feel that he kind of was quite restless. He got to a certain age and he wanted to see more of the world.
When they returned from Nairobi as young men, Charan was happy to settle into the family business. But not Gurinder's father.
And he has worked in Kenya for 20 firms. The last one was Barclays Bank, Kisumu.
So he had a lot of jobs.
A lot of jobs.
Why do you think he had so many jobs?
He was very polite when going for a job.
Yeah.
He would go there but don't stick for more than 6 months.
And why? Because he was just restless, you think?
I don't know.
We'll leave them in the car.
We really need them for the safari.
Yeah. How many hours to Nairobi? The pressure on him to stay within the family and the family business with his brothers would have made my dad very restless. You know, I could see that he wasn't, from his memoirs, that he didn't want to basically spend the rest of his life like Jern Singh, you know, in one place in Kericho working in the family business. In fact, he says here in the memoirs, he says, my father was very anxious that I should now get married and settle in Kericho. But, he says, the metropolitan town of Nairobi was more attractive to me for its cinemas and other delights. He also says, I started taking an interest in politics and became a member of an African organization, and he says, I supported the Uhuru freedom movement. I remember how on a protest day, I would march with a Uhuru flag in Nairobi at the top of the crowd. And he says, and in fact, once or twice, I even got a baton beat. I didn't know any of this. I didn't know he went on protests and he went on marches with the Uhuru freedom movement.
At the heart of the Uhuru freedom movement was the issue of land. The farms sold by the British government to the white settlers had belonged for centuries to the Kikuyu, Kenya's majority tribe. As well as depriving them of their farmland, the British imposed a hut tax on all Africans, which forced many to take menial jobs for cash wages. Before long, a political movement grew up amongst the Kikuyu, demanding political rights and the return of their land. It was centered around one man, Jomo Kenyatta, and the rallying cry was Uhuru, freedom. Bajan was amongst the few Asians who supported their black countrymen, but he was still unable to find direction in his working life and drifted from one job to the next. Frustrated, his father Bishen arranged a marriage partner for him. Balwant Kaur was the youngest daughter of an Asian family living in East Africa who ran a cotton ginnery. The couple were married in 1951 in the Sikh temple at Nakuru, about 60 miles from Kericho.
Oh, it's beautiful. Wow.
The wedding coincided with the Sikh festival of Vaisakhi, or New Year.
I think, funnily enough, for me, this is the first time that I'm actually feeling quite, I don't know, emotional, I guess. I think Kericho was great, but it's my sort of uncle's place, and it's that part. This, to me, is much more about the union of my mum and dad.
First time we built the temple, I think it was 1918.
1918?
Gurinder's meeting one of the custodians of the temple's records.
What we dug up for you. So here's the copy of the original certificate for your mom and dad. And that's the date, 13/4/51.
Yeah, that's right. That's on Vaisakhi.
Exactly.
13th of April, 1951.
If you read that paragraph or you get it translated,
yeah,
it shows the whole history.
I can't read Gurmukhi, I'm afraid. I can speak Punjabi. Punjabi bol lendi hai, par main padh nahi sakdi. Tusi main padh ke sunao and I'll translate.
Read as well.
You can't read it either. Oh no.
And if my mom or anyone, they can translate it.
Okay. Can I meet your mom?
Yeah.
Ikamkar Satguru Prasad. Mr. Harbhajan Singh ji de amrit nahi shakya. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਛਕਿਆ ਹਾਂਜੀ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਛਕਿਆ ਸੀ ਜਿਸ ਨੂੰ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਛਕਾਉਣ ਦੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਮੇਵਾਰੀ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਪਿਤਾ ਜੀ ਬਿਸ਼ਨ ਸਿੰਘ ਚੱਡੇ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਲਈ ਸੀ
As in Christianity, baptism is an important rite in the Sikh faith.
Very thoughtful.
And with it come certain lifelong prohibitions.
I think one of the most interesting things I learned from the records is that my dad wasn't baptized, and for the ceremony to happen, they wanted him to be baptized, which doesn't happen these days. I mean, I got married in a Sikh temple and I wasn't baptized. But when you get baptized, you're supposed to give up meat and not drink and that sort of thing, you know. So I never knew that because he drank and ate meat and enjoyed life. So the fact that he'd got baptized, I never knew that.
The one person who was absent from her son's wedding was Gurinder's grandmother, Taka Devi. By this time, she'd been in India for almost 10 years.
Even though my parents and I were all born in Kenya, my grandfather and grandmother did go back and forth between India and Kenya, partly because of our ancestral home being there, but also in order to get my dad's sisters married.
You're welcome. Have a nice time. Hope to see you again.
Yeah. You look me up in London, okay?
I will.
Gurinder's travelling to India to find out what happened to her grandmother after she left Kenya in the early 1940s.
Whenever I come to India, it really makes me realise how English I am, because to me it is a foreign land, and even though our films have done really well here and people recognise me all the time, that always makes me feel very uncomfortable because I've never found a part of India that I feel that I really belong to.
In Delhi, Gurinder's meeting her father's youngest brother, Balwant Singh.
How are you? Nice to see you.
Balwant had come to India with Gurinder's grandmother, Taka Devi. But they soon found themselves caught up in the tragic events of partition. In 1947, India had finally won its independence from Britain. But the country became divided into India and Pakistan. The Chadhas lived in the province of the Punjab, which was split in two by partition. Hindus and Sikhs were forced to abandon their homes and flee south to India, whilst Muslims headed north to Pakistan. Gurinder's grandmother and her children were amongst the 10 million refugees who fled their former homelands by foot, bullock cart, or if they were lucky, by train, carrying whatever personal belongings they could. But the resentment and hatred created by this upheaval sparked horrific violence. Refugees from both sides were attacked, raped, and murdered. By the end, up to 1 million were dead. Balwant was only 7 at the time of partition, but he still has vivid memories of the terrifying flight from the newly created Pakistan to India.
We had to catch this train, and we came to the station where we were hurdled into a train and thrown just like animals. And there were people all over, hanging, sitting on the train, hanging on the train. There was no place.
Who threw you onto the train?
I think there must be some army people there. And we were so scared because there was a lot of killing going on, people crying, girls crying, a lot of children were left on the platform, their parents had gone, and it was terrible, it was terrible. And I had a little sister, her name was Tripati, and she wanted milk and we didn't have the milk. I think she died because of that. And when we came on the train, I don't know how long we stayed on the train because it seemed years. And finally, we reached Panipat, must be at night. When I woke up in the morning and I saw we were on this Panipat station. Started looking for where to go, what to eat. We were hungry, starving. And I think my mom had to sell her jewelry to get the food.
Gurinder's grandmother and her surviving children reached safety in Panipat, just north of Delhi. Like millions of others, they had to live hand to mouth in a refugee camp. When the news reached Gurinder's grandfather in Kericho, he immediately set sail on the 3-month journey to India. When he arrived, he began a systematic search of the camps. For months, he looked in vain amongst millions of refugees.
How he found us is something very interesting. When he reached Panipat station, he happened to see some boys playing. And my father asked them that, do you know Billu?
You.
And one of them said, yes, I know this boy. Where does he live? And he took him there. Thank you.
I always knew about my family's sad circumstances during partition, and I knew that it was a real scramble with my grandmother, who was there alone with her kids, to get out of there with their lives. What was different, I think, for me today was to actually hear my uncle talk about it in that graphic way. I knew that my dad had a sister that died around that time, but I didn't know that it was actually from starvation, actually on the train. That's really sad.
Having rescued his family from the refugee camp, Gurinder's grandfather was determined to secure their future in India. Many Hindu and Sikh refugees were being settled by the new Indian government in Jagadri, not far from Panipat. By the early 1950s, Bishan had begun to build a new family home and business here. Bishan persuaded Bhajan and his new wife to leave Kericho and join him in India. He involved Bhajan in the construction of the new building, in the hope that he might finally settle here.
But you know what I think is wonderful is that Bishan Singh was such a, industrious, pioneering man, and he had so many kids, and his whole life he devoted to taking care of his kids. If he wasn't going back and forth to India to get his daughters married off, he was kind of building more businesses for each son. And because my mum's parents were here, he thought it would be really nice if he built this big house and these businesses for my dad.
The Gurinder Chadha building, based on the same architect's plans, is an exact replica of the one in Kericho.
Just immediately I can see why Dad didn't stay for more than 2 years. I mean, for me, it's just so hot.
It is hot, it is hot. It's humid.
It's humid, yeah. But why did Dad not stay?
Well, I think basically the climate didn't suit him. He wasn't keeping well. And basically the environment, he was a free thinker, a freelancer. So he didn't want to be chained up. My brother has this, what they call in Punjabi, that he has a chakkar, paranch chakkar aega. And I don't know.
He had wheels on his feet.
Yeah, and my mom used to say, Bhajan will never settle anywhere. Bhajan will never settle anywhere, no matter how much money you put on him.
And why do you think that was?
Well, but he wasn't satisfied. He wanted to become satisfied, not with wealth. Wherever he saw injustice, he didn't like it. He would fight for other people, and he was thrown out of work. Mm-hmm. And that is one of the reasons he had so many jobs.
That's true, yeah. Because in England, he kept moving jobs too,
exactly.
Because people were getting promoted above him,
yes.
Because they were, a different colour to him, and things like that. So he actually kind of stood up.
He stood up for injustice.
Gurinder's father returned to Kenya. But with no real passion for the family business there, he soon decided to make a new start in Britain. But part of Bhajan will be forever India. After he died in 1999, the family brought some of his ashes to be scattered in the Yamuna River at Ponta Sahib in the foothills of the Himalayas.
We ended up coming here and we scattered the ashes just in the river there, but not all the ashes, because some of the ashes were also scattered in London, the river in London, some in Kenya, and then
Australia. Because last time when we went to Kenya together, he said the same thing, that next trip is going to be Australia. And so I felt that he should fulfill his wishes. I took some ashes to Sydney.
So he truly was a global citizen in life and death. This was a life. It was a life like other lives, you know. His was special to me. You know, it's not a big story, but...
Oh, it was a simple man.
But it was, you know, it's a big story for me. What was his favourite song?
तू गंगा की मौज में जमुना का धारा तू गंगा की मौज में तू गंगा की मौज में
हमारा तुम्हारा रहेगा मिलन ये हमारा तुम्हारा तू गंगा की मौज में जमुना का धारा तू गंगा की मौज में जमुना का धारा हो रहेगा मिलन ये हमारा तुम्हारा
Before her father, the ashes of Gurinder's ancestors were scattered in the waters of the river Ganga at Haridwar, a shared Sikh and Hindu holy site. Gurinder and Balwand hoped that Haridwar might reveal details of the Chadha family's Indian history before they migrated to Africa. Each year, millions of pilgrims come to scatter the ashes of loved ones or to bathe in the holy waters of the Ganga. Their visits are recorded by a family priest or pandit. Gurinder and her uncle have an appointment with their family pandit.
Hello, Uncle.
Yeah.
Someone like me, who's only ever sort of known England, I have no concept of an ancestral home or, in fact, a homeland. Hopefully in Haridwar I might find clues to take me back beyond my grandparents. I think this pandit has quite a lot of information, so I think what we'll do is write it all down, yeah? Come, let's go on that side to visit. Come.
Balwand wants to confirm a long-held suspicion that the family is linked to Maharaja Ranjit Singh, the last great Sikh ruler to resist the British. Gurinder is keen to trace the Indian ancestry she's never known.
Namaste,
Pandit ji, namaste.
But they've no idea how far back the records go.
Hanji, Chadha, Hanji.
आपके पिताजी का शुभ नाम
बिशन सिंह
सरदार भजन सिंह जी, सरदार चरण सिंह जी, सरदार बलवंत सिंह जी, बेटे सरदार बिशन सिंह जी के, पोतरे सरदार जोत सिंह जी के।
ये सब हमारा परिवार का है?
सब
नहीं, ये सब चड्डे हैं।
नहीं है, आप में से कोई 4 पीढ़ी के पहले मिलता है, कोई 6 पीढ़ी से पहले, कोई 10 पीढ़ी से पहले, ऐसे।
मैं ये
So all these are all different Chadders?
Chadders, yeah.
Blimey. So that's my
अमीर सिंह जी, son of फतेह सिंह जी।
हाँ, that's the link I wanted. फतेह सिंह। तो उन्होंने अपना वो जात लिखी है? चड्डा लिखी है उन्होंने।
So Fateh Singh was Amir Singh's father.
फतेह सिंह son of उत्तम सिंह।
ठहरो। फतेह।
So Fateh Singh।
जिला अम्बाले में गांव था टंगैल, वहाँ जमीन मिली थी इनको। दरियाला जाला।
कहाँ?
एक लड़का तो रहता है इनका, जिला अम्बाले में गांव था टंगैल।
Wicked. This is
लद्दा सिंह,
wicked.
लखा सिंह, बिशन सिंह। लद्दा सिंह, लखा सिंह, बिशन सिंह।
Even he's woken up. That's how
लखा
exciting
सिंह
it
की
is.
औलाद नहीं थी, वजीर सिंह आए, फूल अपने पिताजी फतेह सिंह जी के लाए।
What? This is
ये
incredible,
वजीर
isn't
सिंह।
it? Isn't it incredible?
इसको हो गए 100
And my friends united,
123
reunited or
साल
whatever it
पहले।
is. This is fantastic.
फतेह सिंह जी के फूल लाए।
Don't need an internet for this. God.
अच्छा, उत्तम सिंह जी के पिताजी लिखो जी आप मेहर सिंह।
Okay.
So the next
So Uttam Singh's father
was Meher Singh.
Meher Singh. So
मेहर
then
सिंह जी
that
के
becomes my
मेहर सिंह जी
great,
के
great grandfather. 6 greats. So what year was that then? That's got to be the 18. Got to be the early 1800s.
Yeah, 1800s. 1840 was Maharaja Ranjit Singh's rule.
Okay.
And that's what I was looking for, from 1840.
Meher Singh was alive during Maharaja Ranjit Singh's reign.
That's what I'm saying, yes.
That whole experience with the Pandit was just fantastic. It was phenomenal. Because for someone like me and other people like me who've been either born or raised in England, we're cut off from whatever, you know, our parents' homeland might be. We would never get the opportunity to go beyond 1 or 2 generations at the most. And now I know what the names of all my great grandfathers are. But what I'd love to do is know what they did. Because in those records, it tells us that they visited, it gives us their names, but it doesn't tell us what they actually did. And so we have to go to Jhelum, which is now Pakistan, to find out.
Going to Jhelum is a very new experience for me. Even though I'm originally from here, I guess, it is a Muslim country and it's, you know, it's a military state. But to me, it's Punjab. So it's sort of my ancestral land as well as being a completely different country called Pakistan.
Balwant grew up here, but he hasn't been back since the trauma of partition 60 years ago.
So that's the River Jhelum.
Yeah.
God, that's beautiful, isn't it?
It's cool and calm.
Do you recognise any of this area of Jhelum?
Well, I do, because that part especially, where there used to be a 100-year-old tree.
Balwant was only 7 years old when he and his family were forced to flee from the city of Jhelum. All across India, houses were abandoned and personal possessions left behind. Now Balwant and Gurinder want to try and locate their family home.
Okay, yeah. Do you recognise it? It's right next to the river. जी ਉੱਥੇ ਬਾਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਵੱਡਾ ਥੜਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਅੱਛਾ ਤੇ ਸ਼ੀਸ਼ੇ ਕਾਫੀ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ
ਬਾਰੀਆਂ ਸ਼ੀਸ਼ੇ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਚਵਾਰੀ ਸੀ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਉੱਚਾ ਸੀ ਸਿੰਗਲ ਸਟੋਰੀ ਸੀ
Uncle, are you recognizing any of this?
Not really. At the
Because
moment,
this is all new, right?
Yeah.
So this wouldn't have been here.
Yeah, but
And this,
the reason I can't recognize it is the house had a thada,
like
patio
a patio
type, and it was very high with staircases.
I mean, some of these patios are very old, right? Look at
but
those.
they were not built outside.
Ah, it was inside.
Inside, that's what I'm trying to get at.
See, one of the problems we're finding is there's quite a lot of old folk around, but everybody came here after 47, after partition. And now all the old folks who are trying to help us only have knowledge from 47. And because it was such a traumatic period, I think people kind of can't really think. They don't know the name. There was no sense of a community. The community stopped, bang, like that, was destroyed, moved out, and a new community came in. So very few people know about the past or even want to talk about the past.
After several hours of searching, they're going round in circles.
So this is where we came, but it's on the other side.
This is not the house, definitely.
Uncle, keep with me, otherwise you'll get distracted. Chalo. This isn't it. Why are they showing us this? Right, I'm getting mad now.
Back here.
This isn't it.
Chalo. हाँ जी कोठा ठीक लगता है कोठा ठीक लगता है बस
Look at that old building there.
That seems familiar.
Oh,
That
finally.
seems there are windows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That seems familiar.
Look at this. Uncle, here, you talked about wooden pillars.
Yeah, pillars, yeah. That's right. This looks to be, yes. That looks to be the right thing. That looks to be the right one. Let me just see
But
something.
it doesn't have like an ornate balcony.
Now, let me just verify. The staircase is on the right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right. I recognize that. That's right.
The last time Balwant set foot in this house, he was just a boy, and tensions between Muslims, Hindus and Sikhs were at boiling point.
Okay, so here's a little balcony thing up here.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
That's what we were talking about. We used to go up there
Yeah.
and take all the stones from the ground level and also hot water. And all the residents, mostly Hindus and Sikhs, used to come to this house for the safety. Because at night, or during the evening or night, the Muslim crowd from the Muslim area, they used to come and harass us.
Yeah.
And only way we could safeguard ourselves is by going to the roof, everybody on the roof, locking these doors up, and we used to put the stones and everything. Somebody comes from underneath, we used to throw hot water over. That was, I remember vividly, because we were scared for our lives. That's what happened.
Gurinder still wants to find out more about what her ancestors did here. She hopes the local land registry office will hold some clues.
My grandfather, Bishan Singh, he originally, we understand, is from a village called Daryala Jalib. And his father, Jodh Singh, was from there, and he had 6 properties there. And so we're hoping you might have some family records. This room is
fantastic.
Amazing.
Fantastic.
Have you seen the movie Harry Potter?
Yeah.
This looks like a scene from Harry Potter, right to me.
So something very interesting. This is the family trees of many people.
This is family trees?
Yeah. So if we are not finding anything here, we can go over to the descriptive part.
Yeah. Okay.
And you are again very lucky.
Oh.
See right on the top of the page. Wazir Singh.
Is it?
Wazir Singh.
Oh, yeah.
So there's Wazir Singh. So according to my knowledge here, Wazir Singh was my great-great-grandfather's brother.
They say that Hamara Moras is gaon mein kadeem se abad hai. That our ancestor is living in this village since
for a long time.
Very
this
old
is time immemorial. Is kind
I
of
don't
what
remember.
Yeah.
That means that from the Sikh times, Sikh government time, that means Ranjit Singh.
Maharaja Ranjit
Singh. And from the Sikh government's time, there's certain land in that area was not taxed.
Oh, really?
That's a direct evidence, in my opinion, in this area, that your forefathers were in army.
Yeah. In Maharaja Ranjit Singh's army?
Because if they are in army, they were not taxed for revenue, because this was their military service.
Gurinder's forefathers served in Maharaja Ranjit Singh's army in the early 1800s. By then, his kingdom was the only region of India not dominated by the British. 10 years after his death in 1839, the British were finally able to annex the elusive piece of their Indian empire.
I had always thought that my ancestral town was Jhelum. I had no idea that actually my ancestors were from a small village called Dariala Jhelum, which is where we're going. A week ago, I had no idea of this. The only thing I know about Dariala Jhelum is it's in exactly the area where, when Alexander the Great was conquering the world, this was the place where he came and got a good hiding. And it was my ancestors that actually gave him the first battle that he lost.
Alexander the Great did invade India in 327 BC, crossing the hills here to fight his last great battle on these plains.
Well, the evidence that I found has led me to this village. Not only were my family here during the reign of Maharaja Ranjit Singh, which was the early 1800s, but actually it goes back much further than that. And I think one of the things that's amazing is that it is timeless. I could just imagine like Alexander the Great coming over those hills with his army right now. For me, it's always been Southall and London, because that's all I've ever known, that's what I've always cherished, and that's always been home for me. And whilst this is still not home, because home is where my friends are, where my family is, and where I grew up, this feels really good to be standing on the soil of where I know that my ancestors came from over 4,000 years ago. What's been interesting going on this journey, which, you know, for me took maybe about 2 weeks and took my grandparents and my dad, you know, like a lifetime. To condense it all into that period really made me aware of just how arduous sometimes their life must have been in terms of moving around, and moving around for the opportunities, but also just the consequences, you know, of British Empire. And I think my parents, you know, who overcame so much prejudice in order to go on and prosper and thrive, helped to create a world which makes people like me, people younger than me, a third generation now, you know, makes them fully secure in who they are and what they are.
Make some noise! 1, 2, 3!